Some people ask me what I mean by the term falling down the Hoya rabbit hole. What are the signs? How will I know? Well, it's simple. At one point, you had either no Hoyas or one Hoya, and now you have, let's just say, several. And then at one point, you look at your collection, thinking where you're going to go next, what are you going to pursue next, and you say to yourself, I want a big veiny one. Yeah, that's what I want. I want a big veiny one. So join me with a tasty beverage close to hand while we take a look at 5 big veiny ones. And the first one up has to be Hoya finlaysonii. This is the quintessential big veiny plant. You see if I can get the camera to focus. I'm kind of new at this, so we're figuring it out. But there'll be pretty pictures and B-roll and all that stuff coming soon. This was the first big veiny one I ever had. That didn't come out right either, did it? This was the first large-leafed Hoya with distinctive veins that I ever purchased. Much better. And it's been a problem from day one. I don't think it's the species, I think it's this particular plant. It came with essentially these first 2 leaves here, and then it didn't do squat for a long, long time. And I tried a bunch of different things to get it to go. Oh, it's that time of year. Different things to get it to go. And it put out a vine, and it put out a couple leaves, and then it just didn't do anything. And I think it was flat mites. I'm almost positive it was flat mites. Matter of fact, I think this may have been the plant that brought flat mites into my house, because I didn't have flat mite issues or signs of them until after his arrival. But anyway, we've treated him a number of times. We've even done some concentrated treatments. And he is putting out a new leaf right here. So when you see the other big veiny ones that I've got, you'll understand why I'm a little puzzled with this one. I'm tempted to try getting another plant, simply because sometimes you get a plant that there's just something not right that you won't be able to figure out and you won't be able to fix. So sometimes it's just a good idea to cut your losses and try again. So that may be the next step. But if you get a good one, this is an absolutely beautiful leaf. They're stiff as a rail, beautiful veining, beautiful color. It's where everybody starts. Hoya finlaysonii. And if they don't start with a finlaysonii, they start with Hoya callistophylla. This was the second big veiny one I got. It came as a 2-leaf cutting, and it was the weirdest cutting I've ever seen. It literally went up and had a leaf, and then did a U-turn and headed down and had a leaf. And I looked at it and said, there's no good way to put this in rooting medium. There's no good way to put this in a pot where it's going to be able to root well. So I cut it and had 2 starts. And I had it in bark and sphagnum, which probably wasn't the best medium for rooting, but it did, and it did fine. And then it put out a few roots. And I put out a few leaves. And I thought, when I discovered pon and started working with it, and with passive semi-hydro, spent blossom, I thought, well, let's try it with the callistophylla because it's a pretty plant. And it jumped all over that. I found that sometimes the woody stemmed Hoyas need some more moisture. They're a little thirstier. They don't store as much moisture in their stems as perhaps some other species do. So I make sure that it's always got something to drink. I don't let the reservoir dry. Well, I do, but I try not to let the reservoir dry out. And it's like, there's a peduncle up here. There's one over here that's just finishing up. There's another one down here. Let's see if I can get that in so you can see it. Am I supposed to cover my face? Is that how it is? Anyway. So it's just starting to bloom. For starting off as a little bit of a problem child, this has turned into a very, very rewarding plant. It's got those leaves are just gorgeous. You know why people love it. And I've been very happy with it so far. So this is Hoya callistophylla. Oh man, that's a good one. And related to Hoya callistophylla, perhaps even the same plant, is Hoya species Kalimantan. I've seen it listed as Hoya callistophylla Kalimantan. I've also seen it just listed as Hoya Kalimantan. And this is Kalimantan UT158. This one started off with just a couple leaves. It was rooted. And at that point, I was working with pon, and I settled it into pon, and it's just, let me see if I can do the leaf thing. Is that a good, yeah, that's a good, let's see if you can, does that help? Does it focus on that? I'll see later. This has been a good, steady grower that puts out these absolutely stunning leaves. The only thing you have to keep in mind about them big veiny ones is that they want some real estate. You don't, when these leaves start to unfurl and start to settle in, you want to give them as much room as you can so that they turn into stuff like this. I mean, that's just pretty. Yeah. And it's putting out a new vine, snaking up through here. So we're very, very pleased with it. If you're looking for a big veiny one, I've got one for you. This is Hoya species Kalimantan, maybe perhaps Callistophylla Kalimantan UT158. The next one I have for you is Hoya globulosa. At least that's the name under which I bought it. I saw someplace that globulosa has been reclassified as villosa. I haven't got an official memo from the front office. I'm fairly far down on the pecking order of, when they tell me what's what. So I'm sticking with what I got for right now. This thing started growing as soon as I got it. It's one of the few Hoyas I have that's in bark and sphagne. It's nicely rooted. I think it would love to be in self-watering, whether it was self-watering pon or whether it was self-watering cocoa husk and pumice and sphagne. And the leaves, I keep saying that, but that's what we're here talking about, big veiny ones. It's about the leaves. Let me see if I can get this to focus on that for you. I don't even know if this is working or not, so we'll find out later. The leaves are really pretty. The thing that will just amaze you is that the top of them feel very, very smooth. Very smooth. It's probably some pubescence on it, but it's minor. It feels smooth. It's shiny. And the underside, I don't want to break this leaf, is like velvet. And I'm not just saying, oh, it's like nice and smooth and oh, it feels a little fuzzy. No, it's like effing velvet. You'll touch the leaf and go, oh, what? You'll have to, once you touch one of the leaves, you'll have to look at the bottom to see what's going on there. And the bottom is kind of pretty. I don't know. See, I don't want to break that leaf. So this one seems to like some moisture, even though it's got that kind of quasi-succulent stem. It kind of hung out for a while, and then it grew like crazy. And then we had spider mites. We had flat mites. And we addressed that. And it started growing again. It grew like crazy. And it did really well. But it tends to put out, I mean, I've got an internodal space here of maybe like 3 inches, and that's fairly close. But it tends to put out these major roots and these incredible leaves, and it wants real estate. I'm almost afraid to move it into a self-watering pot for fear of what it will do. I mean, it takes up this much space as it is. If I gave it better growing conditions, I'm not sure what would happen. Because it just decided to put out this new vine here. These leaves are still hardening off. They're almost there, but they're still hardening off. And I've seen others that go crazy. So I'm in a bit of a quandary. You know, real estate is valuable in the plant room. And this one is I don't know. You know I'm going to do it. I'm going to put it in self-watering, and it's going to grow into this massive plant. And I'm going to have to figure out what to do with it then. But those are the kind of problems we should all have, right? So, highly recommend this one. It's such a tactile paradox. The top side of the leaves belie the underside. It's just really nice. There's lots of good veining. It's a great dark color. It's going to be a big plant, I have this feeling, if I give it what it wants. So, you know, yay. This is Hoya globulosa, maybe villosa, but we're sticking with the name I bought it under. Hoya globulosa. And the last one up of our big veiny ones is Hoya merrillii. And I got this again as a small rooted plant. And this has just never disappointed. It grows, let's see if I can, it just grows really well. I'm going to hide here behind it and maybe it'll focus on stuff. The leaves are just amazing. I'm told that if you give it lots and lots of light, they sun stress beautifully. I'm of two minds on sun stressing. I think it's that word stress. I mean, you know, that doesn't sound like a good thing. That doesn't sound like a good thing. And on some of these, I'm not really sure I like the red. I know it's all, oh, look what I did to my Hoya. But then I think it might also be, look what I did to my Hoya. So that's your call. And I think this is really pretty plant. It bloomed for me really early on. I was kind of surprised. I'm accustomed to Hoyas maybe needing to sit around for a while, but this put out blooms like within the first 3 to 6 months, I'm thinking. And the leaves are just beautiful. It's putting out a new vine down here. I think it's just a really pretty Hoya. And let me try the leaf thing again, see if that'll work. But like those are the latest leaves, and man, those are really pretty. They have a little bit of the sun stress. They're still in the last stages of hardening off, so they haven't developed much yet. This is really pretty plant. It's so carefree. It doesn't demand anything special. Ambient temperatures, ambient humidity. It hasn't whined about a single thing. Man, I say this about all my Hoyas because I love them all, but yeah. I like that the leaves are a little bit more round. They're not quite as long. It's still the way this grows, it's gonna want some real estate. Matter of fact, this one needs to be, it just needs a bigger trellis. And the downside to giving it a bigger trellis is it's gonna fill it. Not because I gave it a bigger trellis, just because this is a really good plant. This is a really good Hoya. It is one of my favorites. The blooms are really pretty. It's just, if you're looking for a big veiny one, I've got something for you. This is Hoya merrillii. I've had to really censor myself through this whole thing. There's no, I don't need flack, okay? So thank you for joining me for this week's end while we took a look at big veiny ones. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, and you know what I'm talking about. It's been fun. They're beautiful plants. Everyone should have a big veiny one in their life. So I've given you 5 to look for. Thank you much for spending your week's end with me. I appreciate it. And we'll look forward to seeing you next week. I'm going to post, which side is it on? It's over here. No, it's over here. A couple more links to videos that might be of interest to you. So give a click, and thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your week's end.